You know, I just also want to say, because we're receiving lots of calls and messages from journalists, they're asking if we bought this software. We didn't. We actually coded the whole thing, working several weeks on trying to put it together. It's not bought. Microsoft and Oracle don't do anything like this. But that being said, let me just show you very quickly what's happening in the Northeast. Net in the first phase of the 91 seats, the NDA currently holding 53, the UPA 8, 30 are with others. Let's just go state by state. In Arunachal Pradesh, there are 2 seats where elections are happening, Arunachal East and Arunachal West. It's Arunachal East, where Kiran Rijiju has gone and cast his vote. He's contesting against Nawam Tuki of the Congress. Last time he won by about a 12% margin. And apart from this, if you see in the Northeast, there's voting happening in the other states as well. So there's voting happening in both the seats of Meghalaya. There's voting happening in the 1 seat of Tripura of the 2. So Tripura West goes to polls just now. There's polling happening in Mizoram as well on the 1 seat of Mizoram. There's polling happening in Nagaland, and there is polling happening, as Javed just said, on the 5 seats of Assam out of the 14, mostly in the upper reaches of Assam. Now, it will be very important and interesting to see if the Citizenship Amendment Bill has any kind of a negative fallout against the Bharatiya Janata Party there or not. I want to show you which the slippery seats in the first phase are. This is crucial because it indicates how many seats are swing seats. Now, swing seats are those seats which have changed hands in every election over the last 3 elections. So they are the ones which are easiest to slip out of your hands. Swing seats, 15 of them. And it's interesting that a lot of these swing seats, the bulk of these swing seats, concentrated in Uttarakhand, because that's where the Congress had done well in 2009, and then the BJP did well in Almora, Garhwal and Haridwar. All these 3 are swing seats in Uttarakhand. There are swing seats in Uttar Pradesh as well. The 3 seats that have changed hands in every election in the last 3 elections in Western Uttar Pradesh are Khairana, Muzaffarnagar and Saharanpur. All 3 seeing pitched contests in the 2019 battle as well. Let's just take you through some of the other swing seats. The other swing seats are in Andhra Pradesh, Khammam and Adilabad. Khammam in the past has been represented by Renuka Chaudhary. She'd done well over there in the past. This time in the Northeast, there is Arunachal West, which is Rijiju's seat, which has changed hands in every election in the last 3 elections. Part of that also is because Rijiju himself has changed parties multiple times. This time, of course, he's contesting as the sitting MP. We want to show you a margin calculator to give you a sense of which the tight fights are. Less than 5% margin. There are 23 seats out of these 91, Rajdeep, which were won with a margin of less than 5% votes, which means that the margin is reasonably narrow and these seats can change hands. So some very, very tight fights being fought, Rajdeep, in this election.
And many of those tight fights are in the Northeast. Just for a moment, to get a sense, Mahesh, you know, traditionally the Northeast was the Congress party in transactional relationships with regional parties, but the dominant force. That seems to have changed in the last 5 years. And Mr. Modi has made a very deliberate outreach to the Northeast. Do you see that, along with the kind of politics that a Hemanta Biswas Sarma is able to play on the ground, a former congressman? The Northeast is one of the growth areas. If the BJP is losing seats in a UP or Bihar compared to 2014, the Northeast is where they can only grow.
Possible. One is the BJP is very significant showing last time in Assam, and their victories not only in Assam, but I want to emphasize Tripura. This is very, very significant. Yeah. Very few people would have anticipated even 10 years ago that BJP will have its own government in Assam and Tripura. There's one point we must make, since we're talking about, you know, insurgency, terrorism, people coming out to vote. There are 2 very positive things in the Northeast. One, that Mizoram, the Accord of 1987 is held. There have been changes, and the MNF this time is not with the NDA. The other is that there has been a very important framework with the NSC and IM in September 2015. This has had very, very positive impact not only in Nagaland, but also in Manipur and in parts of Arunachal. So there is a somewhat more peaceful situation in many areas, and we will have to see whether BJP grows and what the nature of regional parties is in the Northeast. We have to look at them very carefully, the NPP particularly, based in Meghalaya, but important in other states as well.
You know, interestingly, if you were to look at Mr. Modi's achievements, one of them would be what he has tried to push in the Northeast. The Northeast push will be seen as a major achievement of this government, not just in number of seats, but in a genuine attempt to try and send out...
But Rajdeep, if you travel to the Northeast, connectivity to the Northeast is now genuinely better than it ever has been.
Absolutely.
Whether it is air connectivity, whether it's the quality of roads, a lot of the money earlier being sent from the center was being pilfered. There was high levels of corruption. I'm not saying all of that's gone away, but the connectivity, it's much easier to get in and out. the road connectivity is substantially better. You go to virtually any northeastern state, and this is the resounding sentiment of people there.
There's a very large picture, the look east.
Udan scheme is very important. The role of Ram Madhav has been very, very important here. So in a sense, the BJP stayed there, it's dug its heels and places unanticipated. I think the Tripura victory was one of those. That if there was
has
no
this ever happened, Manisha and Mahesh Rangarajan, amongst the foremost political scientists, to go from about 1.5% vote to 48% vote in one election? You know, if you look at the history of electoral contests, very rarely would any one party from such a minuscule vote have jumped up to almost 50% of the vote
There was a two-party system in Tripura. The other party, the Congress, simply collapsed. In fact, the remarkable parallel will be Odisha, where there was the Janata Dal, the Congress, and then the BJP. The Janata Dal collapsed. There's something larger which I think is significant in the Northeast, that part of the Look East policy, Narasimha Rao, Act East policy in the last 5 years, the Northeast integrating economically with Southeast Asia actually opens up a lot of possibilities, also issues and problems, deforestation, displacement. But I think this larger picture of economic transformation is very significant across this entire region.
Can we just go for a moment to Pawan Khera of the Congress, who's joining us, their senior spokesperson, Neha Joshi, member BJP. But Pawan Khera, you know, when the Congress used to at one time almost treat the Northeast as an area where they were the primary party. That has changed. Do you concede that these are the areas where the Congress has lost out? Today actually is a day of constituencies which were dominant by the Congress once. Vidarbha, Telangana, Andhra and the Northeast, areas where the Congress was the #1 party, and now you are playing catch up. Does that in a way reflect the decline of the Congress as a pan-national party?
I would say this is a part of a larger trend, Rajdeep, where national parties, not just the Congress, even the BJP, are ceding space in a lot of states to regional parties. And it's not a permanent trend. Nothing is here to stay. These trends keep changing. But right now, yes, I agree. These are trends in favor of regional parties in several seats, several parts of India. Does not mean that we've ceded space permanently. This election, for example, Northeast, I expect the Congress party to do much better than the BJP or other regional parties there, because people do realize that Congress is the national alternative to the kind of governance they saw in the last 5 years and the kind of politics they saw in the Northeast in particular in the last 5 years. You know, Vidarbha, I went there and I see a lot of positive vibes for the Congress across Vidarbha and Marathwada also. But yes, since we are talking about Vidarbha right now, you, I'm sure, would have also gone and noticed the change in sentiment in favor of the Congress in Vidarbha.
You know, but look at where you are with a Jagan Mohan Reddy, who's today seen as the main challenger to a Chandrababu Naidu. Do you concede, for example, not getting Jagan Mohan Reddy on board has been one of the many mistakes, possibly, that you've made over the last decade? So whether it's a Jagan Mohan Reddy in Andhra Pradesh, whether you've lost out with a Hemanta Biswa Sarma in Assam, you've lost out on local leaders who've now become very powerful in their own way. They've become satraps.
Rajdeep, politics is not static, it's very dynamic. There are times that when you really, your decisions backfire, there are times when your decisions do give you rewards. I wouldn't really resort to hindsight and then say that decision was wrong, this decision was good. Andhra, after the passing away of his father, Jagan's father, politics of Andhra has changed, and then Telangana happened. Things changed drastically there for national